People engaged in entrepreneur marketing. It will help you develop a healthy dose of self-esteem and self-image. Know that what you think about, you bring about. You are a co-creator of your environment. Your mind is the master power that makes it possible. Success with entrepreneur marketing is a mindset. Steve Jobs described it this way: life can be much broader once you discover one simple fact, that everything around you that you call life was made up by people no smarter than you. The minute you understand that, you will never be the same again. Welcome to New Business on Main Street with Russ Johnson. It's where social media meets millions of today's consumers. The Entrepreneur Business Strategy will reach over 200 million Americans this year. If moving goods and services is important to you, then you won't want to miss this information on the techniques, skills, and strategies that will increase your bottom line. Get ready for super profits to be made with entrepreneur marketing. There are 92 million millennials in the United States, meaning those born between 1980 and the year 2000. They will take over the leadership of major corporations in the next few years. These future captains of industry are convinced that entrepreneur marketing is the smart way of doing business. It's where entrepreneurship meets millions of today's consumers. So sit back, relax. It's time to learn how to take advantage of this strategy in today's economy. Now, here's Russ Johnson.
Hello, good afternoon. Russ Johnson here, New Business on Main Street. Thank you very much for tuning in. And we have some guests here. As a matter of fact, before we get started with Steve and Sabrina, and they have a great story, so don't go anywhere. I mean, you have to listen to this story. But we have Steve. We also have another Steve. Steve, are you on the air? Steve, are you with us? Steve?
Steve Freeman is here, yes.
Yes, Steve. Hey, thank you very much for being on the air with us. Listen, this show really focuses on new business on Main Street, because most people, the veterans, the retirees, people who have worked diligently and very hard, the baby boomers are now retiring at the rate of $10,000 a day for the next 17 years. Average retirement income is $24,000 a year, so they have to go to work at Starbucks or Staples or somewhere else to make some extra income. So what I wanted to do was talk about an alternative income producing mechanism that you're involved with. So could you just kind of tell us what you're doing and what you have been doing for the last 30 years to make millions and millions of dollars, okay? Steve?
Well, thank you, Russ, for this opportunity to share. Yes, I've been in this industry, network industry, for 35 years now, and I actually was able to retire for 8 of those years and give back. We did medical mission work and set up schools, feeding programs, and so on in the Dominican Republic, in the poorest of the poor Haitian villages, and we were very much blessed to be able to share a different slice of life with our children, our 4 boys. And what I want you to understand is, Russ, that I was able to do that with my family because I had a residual income. I had no church affiliation. I had no one supporting me. In fact, not only were we self-supporting, but we were also contributing tremendously to scholarships for kids to go to university and so on, some charitable things that we started. And it was only possible because of residual income, not having a job where I lived paycheck to paycheck, but actually building very large organizations in this world of network marketing where I was able to capitalize on great products that help people. And Russ, I retired, as you know, and from this industry, and when my wife, who was impacted by a snowplow here in Pennsylvania where I live about 16 years ago, I was really perplexed and troubled because I couldn't find anything to help her with her pain. And I tried many natural products, arnica, acetyl myristoyate, MSM, sulfate, all the sulfates, boswellia, mangosteen, hyaluronic acid, all kinds of different things, and at best, they helped her about 20 to 30%. So when a friend of mine, Carl Humphrey, who hopefully you'll get to hear sometime, if Russ will invite him on the show. Anyway, Carl calls me out of the blue on a Sunday and tells me about this wonderful product called Soul. And I listened to him and basically told him I didn't believe that this product would help. In fact, any natural product would help my wife. Why did I say that? Because I tried everything that I knew of, and here she was stuck taking prescription strength 800 milligrams of ibuprofen. And this ibuprofen at that level and that intensity, day after day, gave her stomach ulcers and gave her Barrett's disease from too much stomach acid washing up into her esophagus, which we all know does not have a mucosa protective lining like the stomach does to protect against this acid. So here she was now taking an anti-acid Prilosec product, and we were really in a quandary. This was a bad situation. And when she took the Sol, out of all the things she tried, after a week, Russ, her pain was gone.
Mm-hmm.
So you can imagine what that did to me. And I literally had to share this with some other folks that I know that have inflammation and pain issues. In fact, 1/3 of America is plagued by chronic inflammation. And we have too many of our friends and relatives that are stuck on what I call the legal heroin out here. You all know what that is, the Vicodin, Percocet, and OC, and so on. And they need help. And this product helps so many people.
So Steve, if I were to, we have about 2 minutes. So if I were to give people some directions, where would you tell them? What would you tell them to do? You have a website. You have telephone calls. What would you want them to do to get further additional information?
Well, first of all, there are websites you can look at, and maybe you could share that, Russ, if you have one that you'd like to share. And there's each evening, Sunday through Thursday, we have a conference call where you can get an overview of the company and the product. And then just try the product. The company has a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose except your blank. What is your blank? Knee pain, shoulder pain, whatever it is, that's what you have to lose. And believe me, my wife cannot go without this product. So if you are someone who responds well to it, then you might have just found the miracle that has helped so many people.
Okay. And so a lot of people the company is, 4 years old now, 2 years in the United States. And so people will begin to hear about this all over the country. Matter of fact, Rain International is now in 20 countries around the world: Malaysia, Hong Kong, Singapore, Japan, and other places. And it's going great. So I would tell people, just Google Rain International, the simple way to do this. Just Google Rain International and listen to some of the wonderful testimonies throughout the world. Any other thing you want to do in the next 60 seconds before we drop off?
Well, basically, this is the type of business that it's not focusing on money. Don't focus on the money. Focus on helping people. And if you help enough people, the money will follow, because this company is paying over 50 cents out of every dollar back to us in the field. It's called word-of-mouth advertising. So if you do your part and share because you care, then God will provide the money you need to take care of your lifestyle. Thank you, Russ.
All right, Steve. Hey, thank you for being with us, and good luck. Continue the great job that you're doing out in the field. Have a good one. I think it's time for a break. We were saying we were going to take a break, and then we come back with Steve and Sabrina. So do we have somebody to handle a break for us? Engineer, hello. No break. No engineer.
Oh, there you go.
You don't know how to do that, huh? Come on now. He's up next. Okay. He says, so continue. The engineer disappeared on me. But anyway, so I used to do back in the day, I used to do the engineering, the phone calls, the news.
A seasoned
The
pro.
Renaissance man.
Oh, God, but that was 1,000 years ago when they put me in a little room and you had to do it all. But anyway, Steve, thank you very much for being on the program. Sabrina, I really appreciate you being here.
Thank you for having me.
You guys are doing a magnificent job from what I understand. Freddie is jumping up and down doing somersaults back there about what you're doing to help people who are unemployed, people, stay-at-home moms, veterans coming back from the war-torn areas of the world, and who are languishing, and you helping them. Let's talk about that story. What are you doing?
Well, first, I really want to give all the credit to God.
Okay.
So without God and the Spirit in my heart, this mission from what was put in my heart through God would have never really taken place. So I'm very grateful for my Lord and Savior. So, and anyway, we, it was just placed on my heart to do something and have a purpose. And that's what we're all meant to have, is a purpose in our lives. And some of us find it and some of us don't. It took me quite a while to find it, but eventually I did. So we created a 501c3, and January 1st of 2014 was our first call basically to action. And what we do is our charity is called Wheels from the Heart. And we basically provide reliable transportation to single mothers and their children.
Wow, that's awesome. I mean, that's magnificent. What prompted you to come up with? That's a great idea. What prompted you to do that?
Well, I always say God had a very funny
Okay.
joke for me. He took someone that was a people pleaser and a little bit insecure and said, "Hey, why don't you get in the car business? See how that works out." Well, we all know that the car guy doesn't necessarily have the greatest reputation in some cases. So I started my business in '04, and through that time, God continued to have women come in to buy cars from me, and different types from different demographics or financial backgrounds. And the bottom line was, it didn't matter who, what, where they came from, or what they had or what they didn't have. It was the same old story. It was they were just pressured and stressed. So I would have single moms come in with $1,000 and say, 2 babies in their arms, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to hug these people. And I couldn't do anything. I really couldn't, because the banks and the loaning and different things, it's really hard to help them. So I didn't realize what God was doing in my life. And along came this 501c3. And I mean, I had a guy come into my life real quick. He called me to sell a car. And he said, I have a car. I went to see the car. I looked at the car. I could only give him $350 because it was an old Jeep with no AC and no odometer and so forth. And, he said, I'm using this for mission trips. I said, well, okay, I'll give you $450.
Okay,
So
okay.
he went to Haiti and did his thing, but he was a bishop, long story short, he left his keys on my key on the key ring. I got back to my office. I called him. He said, hey, I'd like to come down. I left my keys with you. I said, sure. And then I said to him, I'm trying to start a 501c3. And he goes, oh, I help people start 501c3s. Amen. There you go. My guy that worked for me, I said, Tommy, meet Bishop York. Bishop York, meet Tommy. 501c happened, and here we are.
How long did it take you to get the 501c3?
Well, that in itself was a miracle, because the guy that wrote it had never written a 501c3 in his life.
That turned
He's
23.
83 years old, and he wrote it, and it was approved the first time.
Okay. So what kind of time span are we talking about?
6 months.
6 months?
Not even that,
Okay, yeah. So that's good. Sabrina, you were helping him to help a lot of people. Why?
Well, I think, like Steve said, to have a purpose-driven life is really paramount to somebody's inner joy and peace. And that realization came about 15 years ago for me. So I've been working with a lot of different charities, whether it be for cancer, autism, special needs children. Every single cause really is something that I think is important. One of the things that I love about Wheels from the Heart is that no matter what the cause, yes, it's car donations, but there are mothers that have cancer that need a car. There are mothers that have children that have autism. There's all sorts of causes under this umbrella. And if you don't have a car, it's a really almost impossible, and I don't say impossible because I always believe impossible is I am possible or I'm possible, but it makes it extremely challenging and very, 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 very difficult to get around 2-3 hours a day on a bus in the sun, in the rain, with your children, without a car.
It's tough in Florida.
Yeah.
It is. And, we think about Florida, but what about, some of the cold climates where we're dealing with rain here, but it's usually pretty friendly weather-wise as far as, you're not bundled up with all kinds of jackets and things. But imagine taking your kids in, the dead of winter and waiting at a bus stop. And I was one of those children with my mom as a little girl. So the plight is something that I've lived as a child. And I'm a single mother with 2 kids, so I know what it's like to be a single mother and to be the child at the bus stop as well. So when I heard what Wheels from the Heart was all about and what Steve was doing, I said I want to jump on board and I want to do whatever I can to help.
Right. And so you've been doing this since January then?
Well, January 2014 was really the time that I went to work, and since that time...
So how many cars have you given away since that time, approximately?
We just provided our 39th car on Saturday.
Wow.
And maybe somebody out there will make it 40.
Oh, okay. So
help another family in desperate need.
Of course. And so there are people who have some cars sitting in the driveway that they're not using.
Right. Well, we actually got a call today from a lady who saw one of our flyers, and she has an old van. She probably offered to trade it in. They pretty much gave her nothing, so she was selling it in her driveway. And she said, "Can I get a tax write-off?" And I said, "Absolutely."
Oh,
and
okay.
what the benefit is with us in a tax write-off is you get a full Kelly Blue Book tax write-off because that car is a gift. So that car for her, I could show a value of $6,000.
Wow.
She gets a $6,000 write-off. If it goes to another organization, because they don't gift the car, they sell the car, you only get a write-off on the proceeds of the car.
$1,000 or $1,500.
They pick it up, they give you
Right.
$500, which is great, and then they give you the rest of what it sells. So maybe you only get $1,500.
Right.
And what happens with that car, I call diluted and polluted. There's a lot of hands that touch it going in and out.
True.
And everybody's got their hand in the pocket when it's really not the charity. It's the people selling it and getting it there to the auction to clean it and do things. So that money actually could go directly to the charity.
Actually, and Steve has a great point. Right before the show started, there's a car wash, and that car wash was generous enough for us to have a poster. So if there are any car washes out there that want to do a good deed for a family and a mother in need along with her children, a poster doesn't cost you anything. We donate the posters, and people are sitting there a lot of times bored, not knowing what to do. They're on their cell phone, and they see this poster of "Please help a family in need, donate a car and get a full Kelly Blue Book tax credit."
And you know how to do that because you are
Well, and that's the interesting thing.
you know how to do this deal.
Right. Well, and what's nice is because of the dealership, it allows me so many more benefits than just starting a car charity. I have the wholesale ability. I don't have to pay tax when I pay wholesale. The auctions have been great to give me good prices and non-fees and things. So I can go in. So if we would go to find a car and say it costs $2,500, it's basically a $4,000 to $5,000 car on a lot. So a mother's getting a $5,000 car for $2,500
Right.
or sponsored. We even have opportunities where some women will save money and the charity, the organization will send them in and we help them out.
So if I have a car sitting in my garage that I'm not using, how would I get to you?
A couple ways. One would be wheelsfromtheheart.org.
Okay.
Is our website, and that'll be up in a couple days. We just
Yes.
had a wonderful young man that volunteered his time to do our website. You can reach out on the phone.
844-GIVE-WHEELS. 1-800-844-GIVE-WHEELS. 1-800-844-GIVE-WHEELs.
1-800-GIVE.
In case anybody really wants to know.
Give wheels.
Give
There's some
wheels.
numbers there.
Well, we added a couple numbers on
But
there,
it
but they
doesn't
just
matter,
go into the
actually,
number
because
bank.
as long as you, right.
Can I get a real number?
Well, I don't remember what the real number is, but if you do 1-844-GIVE-WHEELs, as long as you get to the 7th number, after that it doesn't really
Right,
matter.
you
It
can
just
push
starts
whatever you
ringing.
like, whatever your favorite number is.
All right, let's take a break. If we want to come back, I want to talk about some new nuances that you're getting ready to put into this that will help not only people get a car and so they can get to work, but become employed. Is that right?
Amen.
Is that right?
Yes,
Is that right?
sir.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Well, let's take a break right here.
Thank you.
Hey, this is all happening right here on 1470 AM. It's called The New Business on Main Street.
The longer I live, the more I realize the importance of attitude on life. Attitude, to me, is more important than facts. It's more important than the past, than education, than money, than circumstances, than failures, than success, than what other people think, say, or do. It is more important than appearance, giftedness, or skill. It will make or break a company, a church, a home. The remarkable thing is, we have a choice every day regarding the attitude we embrace for that day. We cannot change our past. We cannot change the fact that people will act in a certain way. We cannot change the inevitable. The only thing we can do is play the new string we have, and this is our attitude. I am convinced that life is 10% what happens to me and 90% how I react to it. And so it is with you. We're in charge of our attitude. Charles Swindoll.
This is New Business on Main Street with Russ Johnson, where you can learn the strategies needed to be a successful business entrepreneur. Want to learn more about the opportunities entrepreneur marketing can show you to help you be successful? Go to newbusinessonmainstreet.com. That's newbusinessonmainstreet.com. Once again, here is Russ Johnson.
Here.
Okay, back here at 1470. and I'm Russ Johnson and New Business on Main Street. This is really a new business because you've come up with a gigantic idea of how to help people. So I applaud you for coming up with that kind of idea. I quite frankly, I used to sell cars, used car salesman. No, I'm just kidding. So, so, but you've come up with a very unique idea, and I like the fact that you do the Kelly Blue Book deal back to them,
Right.
which gives them tons of money back that they can write off. That's
right.
powerful.
Yes.
And we also
Yeah.
give the opportunity for the donor to actually connect with the recipient.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe there's a way, and we've had actually connections in their lives, and they stay in each other's lives. And it's really cool because what we found is every girl, I didn't know this, but thanks to Sabrina's been a great asset in addition to doing things that I don't see. And we realized that every girl names their car.
It's so
Bessie
sweet.
or Betty
Like a teddy bear.
Right.
I
Oh,
said,
okay.
"Oh my gosh, it's like a teddy bear," and that's really how much these cars mean to these women. Is when you don't have a car, and we donated a car on Sunday, and I interviewed the young lady, and she said 95% of her life is donated to her children, and she says, and she started crying. She says, the thing that hurts me the most is I wish I could do more for my kids, and I don't feel like I'm the best mother that they could have. And I said, well, how could a car change your life? And she says, my kids could go to after-school activities. Now, one of those children or both of those children may end up being a superstar football player or Marlins or basketball.
Pay it forward.
You never
Right,
know. She had two
right,
little
right.
boys.
And you hear a lot of NBA guys. Kevin Durant speaks about how his mother was instrumental.
Oh.
Yes.
Dwayne Wade, all these things. So really, without their mothers, we wouldn't have some of these great athletes
Right.
we have today.
And that's really, I think, one thing I'd love to touch on for a second
Okay.
is if there are any athletes out there listening right now, or if a friend of a friend or an agent or a publicist of an athlete, this is an amazing opportunity to help a family in need, a single mom. A lot of you athletes were raised by single mothers. So please, wheelsfromtheheart.org, wheelsfromtheheart.org, 844-GIVE-WHEELS, 844-GIVE-WHEELS, and you can just completely change somebody's life and their children with one car donation and do something great for in your life.
And what's interesting is, I say no pun intended, but it's really a wheel. All the different components are a wheel.
Okay.
And with one
A
spoke
circle.
missing, the wheel goes flat. So we complement others and they complement us in the charity world. So it's important for us to come together as a community, and really, we are an instant impact. I say we're a mid to finish point. We're not a starting point. We work with the organizations that have vetted these girls that are 1 year, 2 years on the bus, 2.5 hours each way, which is 20 hours, which is Monday morning from 9 till Thursday at 10. What do you, audience, get done in that amount of time? I ask you that. And then I tell you that I have women on a bus that amount of time with dead time. And when I tell you the bus isn't the most pleasant place in the world, it really, truly isn't.
Powerful. How would a woman or lady get in contact with you saying that I heard about you guys and understand?
Again, on the website.
The
On the
website will
website?
have an
Yeah.
application. They'll be able to click on it, send it into us, and go there. I mean, our mission is really to bring the community together. So we're working on an extremely big project.
But expand that a bit.
Well,
for me.
it's going to be very innovative in the car industry that no one has ever done. We're basically going to bring the car dealership back to the neighborhood. As the majority of the car dealerships, they're great and they're good. They serve a great purpose. But we want to come back with the community, be involved, offer different opportunities. But we have a great opportunity that no one has even thought of. It is so.
So you're going to really expand this, from what I
Well, it's
understand.
all about not putting one egg in a basket. So this is an opportunity. If there's anybody out there, again, that wants to be a part of an investment that's doing good, that's giving back to a community where you can make great.
Return on investment.
Yes.
Return
Oh,
on money.
Yes.
Yeah. So if I have a couple $100,000 and I don't sitting around, what would I do?
You call us.
You call us.
Call you.
And I
And
can
then
show
we'll
you
give you the
returns.
Can I
details.
write you a check now?
with secure and the greatest part is most of it's with a secured asset.
Yes.
So it's not
Which
just
is so
you know,
important.
and I'll never forget when I first started selling cars in '04 when I got involved with a friend of mine. He took me to a football game and we're watching the game and we looked around. There's 80,000 people and he says, "Hey, guess what? Every one of these people have a car." Meanwhile, I was selling clothing and sunglasses, and I'm thinking, well, maybe whatever needs my sunglasses, but everybody needs a car. So the opportunity is innovative. It's pioneered. It's going to be on magazines, and people are going to go, "Wow, how do we not think of this?"
Right.
And it's also compiled with giving back, again, to the community by charitable.
So you are working with other charitable organizations then in order to do this. How are you interfacing with them? If I may?
Well, Veterans Day last year,
Okay.
We helped, and I forget the organization actually.
VFW or
Well, a
American
friend of mine
Legion?
has one his own 501c called
Okay.
the 22 Project. What he does is he helps veterans because 22 veterans kill themselves daily on a suicide.
At least.
And
At
so
least.
he's done this thing where he does hyperbaric brain oxygen therapy for them. And so we worked with another vet down in Miami. She was 6 children, 2 tours in Iraq, a current Navy reservist with no car.
Wow. That's tough.
The stories are crazy.
That's tough.
And the best part
Yeah.
about that, Russ, is this was great. We took her to a spa, we gave her the car, and we invited her into a party and did a makeover. After we were done with the makeover, she came up to me with tears in her eyes and she said, Steve, no one's told me I'm pretty in 10 years.
Wow. Okay.
So again, we've got this great opportunity, like you said, to get a great return on
Right.
your investment
Right.
with a great cause attached to
And the
it.
number is, we have 2 minutes, a minute and a half now. Time goes fast when you're having fun. Huh?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Can we buy another half hour? Can we get involved? What do we need to do?
Life
Freddie,
goes
the
fast,
coach-
I tell you.
let's get the
You
coach
gotta
in.
love it. You gotta do good things in life. 'cause
Okay,
it does
again,
go by
you're
fast.
doing a great job. You're helping a lot of people. You're getting out 39 cars. You're really bringing it back to the community, and the people who donate the car get a big return on their
And
giving.
it's an instant impact. When you give a
Okay.
car, that woman's life is instantly, immediately changed, and
That's
so are
second.
the children.
Right,
Yes.
right.
So if there are any big companies like 7-Eleven or any type of big corporations, we're embracing them as well.
Right. Okay. Great. All right. I think that's the time. It's up. It's but we've
Well, we thank you.
And
Parting
again,
is such sweet sorrow.
and the number again is
1-844-GIVE-WHEELS.
844 give wheels.
Give
Yeah.
Wheels, 844-844-GIVE-WHEELs.
I love it. Hey,
Wheelsfromtheheart.org.
Can you sing that for us?
844-GIVE-WHEELs.
Hey, thank you very much for being here.
You asked.
The new business.
The new
on
hit,
Wall-
the new hit, man.
I
We
know
just
the
got
hit.
it.
The new business on
ask
Wall
if
Street.
you-
The new hit. 1470. Thanks
Thank
for.
you so
See you next
much.
week. Same time, same place.
Out of the night that covers me, black as the pit from pole to pole, I thank whatever God may be for my unconquerable soul. In the fell clutch of circumstance, I have not winced nor cried aloud. Under the bludgeonings of chance, my head is bloody, but unbowed. Beyond this place of wrath and tears looms but the horror of the shade, and yet the menace of the years finds me unafraid. It matters not how strait the gate, how charged with punishments the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. William Ernest Henley. It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming, but who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat. Theodore Roosevelt.
Times are tough, and right now those in the commercial world know that being heard via advertisements is the name of the game. AmpSquare.tv